In the last episode of Soap.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you.
1, 2, 3. Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to Tix. Yeah, I'm just a few minutes behind. I'm uploading the new outro video specifically for the rest of the month. So right now it's on the CapCut at 26.3%. But it'll be ready by the time we're ready to go. So at any rate, what up? What's going on, Simeon? So round 2 of Zelenskyy coming back to the White House. I have not seen this, of course. Everything that I 99.9% bring to y'all is fresh viewing. We all watch it together. It is what it is. As I try to get back on a consistent schedule. Oh, okay, good. It's down low. Let's see. How big is it? It is 314 megabytes. It's too big. It's too big. Stop. Phrasing. I just realized what I was saying. Hold on. Dang, I'm trying to get it because with StreamYard, you can only do 200 megabytes. So this will be my 3rd time trying to download this freaking thing. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's see exactly what popped off between Zelenskyy and Trump. Let's get into it. Let's go. Looks like he put on the suit jacket this time. He's sitting in the Edith Bunker chair.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor.
Oh, he got a dress shirt.
President of...
Wait, look. He got on, I don't know if you can see it, but he got on a dress shirt. Just no tie and an overcoat. Look at him. He dressed like he actually was in the White House. Show some respect. There you go. There you go. Of course, all of this comes off of the heels of Trump meeting with Putin in Alaska. And Trump had alluded on Air Force One that they might, as the weekend progressed, people were alluding that Trump might lift sanctions off of Russia. Trump, that's other people. But Trump did allude that Russia and the United States might actually wind up being trade partners, because do understand that we're on a planet with finite resources. America is the world's greatest market, the world's greatest economy. So if you want to make money, everybody knows you have to come knocking on America's door. So if you want to do this, that, and the other, you got to make a deal with Trump. Flat out. That's all he does, that he loves to do. He loves to make deals. So let's see what pops.
Ukraine with us. We've had a lot of good discussions, a lot of good talks, and I think progress is being made, very, very substantial progress in many ways. We had a good meeting, as you know, just a short while ago with the president of Russia. And I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it. And today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe. And we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation and thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you. And using this opportunity, many thanks to your wife, First Lady of the United States.
Yeah, kiss the ring, baby.
To put in about our children, adopted children, and my wife, she, First Lady of Ukraine. She gave the letter. It's not to you, to your wife.
Oh, no
Yeah. So we are saying this sensitive topic. Yes, please. And thanks to our partners and that you supported this format. And after our meeting, we can have leaders who are around us: UK, and France, Germany, Italy, Finland, EU, NATO. I mean, all partners around Ukraine supporting us. Thanks to them, and thank you very much for invitation.
Thank you very much for being here.
President Trump.
Yes, Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So, President Zelenskyy, you say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelenskyy of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, which is
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
And, is this the end of the road for American support for Ukraine? Is today's meeting deal or no deal?
I hope
I
so.
can never say that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed and we want to stop that. So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. I mean, millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week for whatever reason. A big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it ended.
And as you met with Putin on Friday, today you've got President Zelenskyy here.
The third question.
As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards? Right?
Well, I don't want to say that. I'm just here to look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening, and we want to get it ended. And we want it to end good for everybody. We want it to end good. The people of Ukraine have suffered incredibly.
President Zelenskyy, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live under each day attacks. That today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support, American and European partners, and we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, of personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yeah, because, let's be honest. He realized, look, last time he was here, he tried to run the guilt trip. Look at the pictures. Look at the picture. I'm like, I don't want to see them daggone. I don't care about those pictures. I've seen those pictures. Then he got booted out because he was begging for money. He was pulling a DACA Umar. donations. He got kicked out. So then he went running to the EU and got nothing there because the EU trying to join NATO. And the EU was like, who do you think funds us? Like, we don't have any money. Like, our tech is outdated. You need to talk to Trump. We get our stuff from the United States. So you trying to run to us for protection is not helping you. Because he was trying to join NATO because he wanted that NATO protection. And NATO was like, we're NATO, but in all honesty, without the United States, we're just, that little punk kid that's picks on other people, and then we run to the United States / our big brother to protect us because he's a big hulking behemoth monster. All right, so I don't know what you expect us to do. And then, of course, Lindsey Graham got him over there trying to kill Putin with drones and whatnot. And that failed. So now he's been facing a hell of a shellacking. And Trump is like, here, I can give you, I can sell you these missiles. But outside of that, unless you got some money for us, bro, we have nothing for you. You're on your own. We sell weapons now. We don't give. We don't borrow against ourselves and put ourselves in debt for other nations. We don't do that anymore. You need something for us? Then, hey, hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Hit the PayPal. Hit the PayPal. USA.gov, baby. You can Venmo. You can Cash App. Yeah, no. Nothing is for free now. Yeah, that's why he's sitting up there all humble in his little dress shirt, talking all soft like the little boy that he is. Like Trump told you, you don't have the cards, bro. Now you realized it. Yeah, he didn't say anything. He talked in a circle.
Are you going to be willing to send American peacekeepers to Ukraine?
Well, we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going
Hell no.
make sure that if there's peace, the peace is going to stay long term. This is very long term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace and then we end up in this mess again. We're going to make sure that everything's good. We'll work with Russia. We're going to work with Ukraine, and we're going to make sure it works. And I think if we can get to peace, it's going to work. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, understand what peacekeepers are. Peacekeepers are essentially human shields. Let's just be honest. Peacekeepers are human shields. When you want to force a ceasefire, like if you're two warring nations and the United States has their hands in one of the nation's pies, they'll send U.S. soldiers over there into the battle zone areas, and it's like, hey, look, you fire on them, you're firing on U.S. soldiers, and if you're firing on U.S. soldiers, well then we have to get involved. That's why that guy asked that question. And Trump's not going to send U.S. soldiers over there because he don't want them to die. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to continue or further continue a war. So no, he's not sending U.S. human shield / peacekeepers over there. You crazy?
Your team has talked about security guarantees. Could that involve U.S. troops? Would you rule that out in the future?
We'll let you know that maybe later today. We're meeting with 7 great leaders of great countries also, and we'll be talking about that. They'll all be involved, but there'll be a lot of
we'll cover that too.
When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're there. They're Europe, but we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved. Yes.
Right, but that all depends on what this fool right here is doing. No villain in black right here. Little Napoleon complex. Because you can tell Trump's already made the deal with Putin. He's already made the deal with Putin. He's telling Zelenskyy this is what the deal is going to be. You need to make these concessions. Well, and as Zelenskyy keeps saying, well, Putin, he's going to attack anyway. He's going to attack anyway. You're like, well, don't worry. I'm going to talk to the UN leaders. We're going to talk to NATO. And we're going to put some assurances on the ground. But you and Putin need to make this deal. Y'all need to put this on paper. Once you guys put this on paper, if he continues to attack unprovoked, then we'll send in NATO troops, not US. We'll send in NATO troops from the EU because they're right next door. We'll send them in. But we're not going to get physically involved like that. We'll let NATO handle it, but you're still not joining NATO, just so you know. You know, you're like Anakin Skywalker. We grant you a seat on this council, but you do not get the rank of master. So how you want to play this?
Vladimir Putin mentioned that the war will not end without addressing the root causes of this war. Have you had an understanding what
I
are
love
the root
breaking this
causes
stuff
of this
down.
war?
Well, look, the war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and
We'll
Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think
We'll
the whole
see.
world is tired of it, and we're going to get it ended. It was, I've done 6 wars. I've ended 6 wars, and I thought this maybe would be the easiest one, and it's not the easiest one. It's a tough one. A lot of
Your
reasons
problem
for
is
it.
sitting right next
And
to
they'll
you.
be talking about it for a long time, but they'll be talking about the others. Look, India, Pakistan, we're talking about the big places. When you look at, you just take a look at some of these wars. You go to Africa and take a look at that. Rwanda and the Congo, Republic of the Congo.
He
Congo.
saw
That's
black
been
on
going
black
for
crime.
31 years. And so we've done a total of 6, and we really have 6, not including the fact that we obliterated, and it turned out to be a total obliteration, the nuclear as you said, the future nuclear.
Wait, can we just reflect on the moment that Trump saw black on black crime in Africa between Rwanda and the Congo, and now he's pretty much trying to put an end to black on black crime, or just crime period, but mainly black on black crime in DC, considering the racial makeup of DC and the majority of the victims of crime in DC.
Capability of Iran. And this one, I think we're going to get solved also. I feel confident we're going to get it solved.
Like guarantees or like special envoy put forward?
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you tell us about your conversations with European leaders and what they need to see to support an end to the war?
Yeah, well, we're going to be meeting with a great representative group and 7 very powerful, very big countries and great people, all friends of mine and friends of yours. And we're going to have some suggestions made. They want to see peace. They would like to see peace. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, he is a true Pan-African.
President Trump, do you think it's fair for Ukraine and for Russia to achieve a lasting and durable peace if Ukraine sees its territories that Russia hasn't yet conquered? Do you think it's a fair peace for Ukraine?
We're going to have a lasting peace. Just to answer the first part of your question, we're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you posted on social media, Mr. President, a very touching letter from the First Lady, and the letter was hand-delivered to President Putin, and it calls for an end to the war, essentially, because of the children, the children's future. Why did the First Lady feel that letter was necessary? Was it because she believes that Mr. Putin is the aggressor in the war? Is a similar letter being hand-delivered to President Zelenskyy?
So the First Lady felt very strongly. She's watched the same thing that you watch and that I watch. I see things that you don't get to see, and it's horrible. But when she's got a great love of children, she has a wonderful son that she loves, probably more than anybody, including me. I hate to say it, but she loves her son. She loves children, and she hates to see something like this happening. And that goes for other wars too. I mean, she sees the heartbreak, the parents, the funerals that you see on television. Always funerals. We want to see something other than funerals. No, she felt it was a beautiful letter. It was very well received by him, and she did ask me to say, she would love to see this end. She would love to see it end, and she says it very openly, very proudly, and with great sorrow because so many people have been killed.
You see, that's the thing about, like, when you have a female companion, is that she can make you see the human side of it, the morality side of it. Like, you have Amanda Seals, who stupidly called herself trying to debate 20 conservatives on Jubilee, and from what I see, she made a stone cold fool of herself. And she was talking about the morality of reparations, and it's like, and like the one dude, and she was talking to a black dude who actually does YouTube here. He's a pretty good YouTuber, and he told her, like, look, if they haven't given us that money by now, we're never going to get it, and you're never going to get it. Your reparations, in all honesty, Trump has given black people their reparations starting from 2026 on up by that $1,000 investment per child in the S&P 500. Because by the time that child turns 18, that $1,000 at minimum should be worth $100,000. At minimum, $100,000. Even at super minimum, $50,000. We're talking about $1,000 that's maturing for 18 years, because you won't be able to touch it. The parents won't be able. Mama can't touch it. Nobody can touch it except for that child on their 18th birthday. With all of the industrialization that is now coming into America between now and forever, or at least till next year, or really I would just say forever, because no president in their right mind would be stupid enough to roll back the tariffs. That wouldn't make any sense, especially what we're going to see for the next 3.5 years, all the money that we're going to be making, all the jobs that's going to be here. That's your reparations right there. Your little son on his, or daughter on their 18th birthday. Look, if they don't know financial literacy and they run through that money within a year, that's a failure as you as a parent. That's your reparations. I would rather your child have a leg up. All children, but as black people, your child starting in 2026 on up, your child will have a leg up in society that no child in the history of the world has ever had, most especially in the United States. Every child starting in 2026 will be born with a silver spoon in their mouth. What they feed themselves, that's up to you as a parent. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
President, last week.
Brian, go ahead, Brian.
Yes, sir. I've got a question for each of you. First of all, Mr. President Zelenskyy, you look fabulous in that suit.
I
You look good.
said the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? That's the one that attacked you last time. See, now he's in.
I remember that.
No, my first question for you,
But
President
you
Zelenskyy.
are in the same suit. I changed you.
Zelenskyy got jokes.
Please.
They're doing the same suit.
Are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances. And a little bit, we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, and the sea, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say during the war, you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
Yeah,
No.
Speaking of news, I got a question for you. This sounds insane for me even to ask this, but do you think the American media really doesn't even want a peace deal, because they've been so critical of you every step of the way as you lead the charge for peace?
It's an amazing phenomenon. I said that if in the settlement you got Moscow, St. Petersburg, and thousands of miles around them, they would say I made a bad deal. The level of hatred and animosity is incredible. Not with all. I mean, we have great people up here. We also have terrible people up there that I think are told what to say. But, in solving all of these wars, they don't even write about it. I saw major wars. I saw wars that have been going on for 31, 35, and 37, and a couple of quicker ones. One that was going to go into a full-blown deal very quickly. You know what the one I'm talking about? It was a big one. But they don't even write about that. No matter what I do, no matter what, and this is not anything to do with you. It's probably to your advantage in a certain way. But no matter what I do, no matter what deal I make, from my standpoint, you'll come out good. Maybe President Putin will come out good. But they'll say Trump was absolutely horrible. It's just it. And I've lived with that for a long time. I've lived with it since just before the first election. I used to get great publicity. Now I get the worst publicity anyone's ever gotten in office, but I won in a landslide, so that people understand they're the only ones that count ultimately. But I've also had great reporters. I've had journalists that are very good. But it's very sad when you do the right thing. As an example, they said, because of the fact that Vladimir Putin came to American soil, this was a tremendous defeat for Donald Trump. No, it was really wonderful that he did it. It was a hard thing for him to do, to be honest with you. It was the opposite of what they said.
Right. He could have been.
Said it. Now, if he didn't come,
he could have been deleted. Trump could have had him arrested. I mean, two things could have happened to Putin. He could have been deleted or arrested. Those are the two worst things that could have happened to him. Or we could have just bombed Russia and held him there, held hostage. We now have your country because we now have your leader. That was a big risk of Putin coming to Alaska. I understand. I mean, it's really the safest way he could be on American soil because you can swim to Alaska, jump on a couple of rocks, 6-7 rocks a year, in Alaska to Russia, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was him touching down on American soil. That was as big as the leader of China touching down in San Francisco. But China owns San Francisco, so that's a whole different ball game. But and speaking of Trump and the media, MSNBC is going the way of the dodo. I'm going to touch on that tomorrow. Tomorrow, I've got a couple of stories to deal with. MSNBC is done. Is done. They've been sold, they've been taken over. MSNBC has been taken over. I want to get on the black governor that supports crime, and it's another big story. I can't think of it right now, but MSNBC being taken over, that's a huge one. That is huge. Rachel Maddow might be out of a job. We'll see. But let's go.
They say that was also bad for Trump. Yeah, there's no way. And
what's up?
It's just a great dishonesty of the press, and I think that's why it's lost its credibility. Its credibility is at an all-time low. We have a thing going on right now in D.C. We went from the most unsafe place anywhere to a place that now friends are calling me up, Democrats are calling me up, and they're saying, sir, I want to thank you. My wife and I went out to dinner last night for the first time in 4 years, and Washington, D.C. is safe. And you did that in 4 days. I'll tell you, it's safe. I had another friend of mine. He has a son who's a great golfer. He's on tour. And he came in fourth yesterday in the big tournament where Scotty Scheffler made the great shot. And he said his son is going to dinner in Washington, D.C. tonight. I said, would you have allowed that to happen a year ago? He said, no way. No way. He said, what you've done is incredible. And I think the people realize it. But the press says, he's a dictator. He's trying to take over. No, all I want is security for our people. But people that haven't gone out to dinner in Washington, D.C. in 2 years are going out to dinner. And the restaurants the last 2 days were busier than they've been in a long time. Thank you for the question.
All right, let me clear this up. So MSNBC is being spun from NBC Universal. as part of a larger corporate restructuring. Because I just want to be sure, so I'm looking it up. I just want to put the facts out there. I don't want to give y'all misinformation. But it will remain within the newly formed Versant company. The network will also undergo a name change to MS Now. All right. So, but what's going to happen is a lot of the people they were talking about it. They were saying that they're probably going to do a massive turnover, a massive employee, because they're being taken over. They're being restructured. All right. They're being restructured, which means that they're going to stop being who they are, telling lies. Simone Sanders and whatnot, those people, they might be fired. I'm not sure. But the whole thing is that all of that victimization card, that Democratic ideology, all of that stuff, I really do believe they're going to do away with all of that and actually be a fair and balanced news source, like all news entities should be, because they're bleeding money. They understand. Versant understands that the I hate Trump business is not profitable. It's not profitable. I mean, look at Fox Cable News. I mean, they get views in the millions, like millions. Whereas even the best show on CNN, which is the Scott Jennings show. I mean, I know Abby Phillips is the host, but we call it the Scott Phillips show because if it's not Scott Phillips on there, nobody watches it. Even his show doesn't even bring in 1 million viewers on CNN. Even that show, and that's one of the most watched shows on CNN, and they average anywhere between like 400,000 to 600,000 viewers, depending on if Scott is there or not. If Scott is there, 600,000. If he's not, 400,000. And do understand that CNN, a lot of their views come from them being on 24 hours in restaurants, bars, hotels, airports, bus terminals, etc., hospitals, waiting rooms. So their views are really kind of artificial because businesses will just put on CNN and call it a day. Yeah, talking about freedom of speech, but the left controls it. Exactly. So their views are artificial. Their views are artificial. If you actually gave people freedom of choice, like if you go, because sometimes like we'll go to not Buffalo Wild Wings, but crap, what is the name of that? Oh, not Wingstop. What is the name of that wing place down here? But anyway, there's a wing place that we'll go to sometimes. Me and the homeboy, we'll go there, and they'll have all the sports shows on, but over in the corner is CNN. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's watching it. It's just on. That's an artificial view. But meanwhile, Fox is killing it. Fox is killing it in the ratings. You wonder why Disney bought the NFL networks, the NFL's networks, which is the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. You wonder why they bought that? They needed that money. They know football is king. Out of all the 4 major sports, football is king. It looks like the NBA is getting ready to drop the WNBA. All right, they were sitting up here rejecting offers that would pay them 4 times the amount they've ever received in the history of the league. I mean, I know I'm getting the sideburn here, but I'm just giving y'all the headlines. Okay? I'm just giving y'all the headlines. But CNN is in trouble. There's a reason why The View actually went on an early hiatus, because they won't shut up with the I hate Trump talk. In all honesty, if I was them, I would fire I would get rid of Sonny Holston and Joy Behar. I would get rid of those two. All right. You can keep Alyssa Ferragamo where she is in the corner. I mean, she's pretty. You know, she likes to show her legs. She's some good eye candy. At least she tries to pretend that she's a conservative. But you need to bring in at least one actual news anchor that's fair and balanced and an actual conservative. All right. An actual conservative. Even if you have to do, I would say, if you have to do a rotating chair of conservatives, that's fine. Like they do with CNN. Like they'll have Kevin O'Leary, or they might have Michael Singleton, or what? Who's the lady that was on there? Jillian, is it Jillian Michaels? The workout chick. They had her on there. If you do a revolving chair like that of conservatives, or maybe you might hire just Sir Michael Singleton outright with an actual news anchor, somebody that knows what they're talking about, that's fair and balanced, to counter Whoopi Goldberg. All right. Or you can keep Joy Behar on there and have her be the butt of the show. All right. Or better yet, get rid of Joy Behar. Leave Sonny Holston on there. Bring in like somebody like that's a Sir Michael Singleton, or a straight up newscaster, somebody that'll G-check her goofy victim, slave master family self to make her look stupid every day. Stop doing that artificial hand clapping every time she says something stupid. You hit the applause button, and like trained seals, those old Keisha sitting in the audience start clapping. Yeah, do away with that. Stop feeding her ego and let the chips fall where they may. But I'm just saying. What's up, Unsunken One? I got canceled for saying they for their disrespect. Oh, saying that for their disrespect. Yeah, did y'all see that WNBA video game? Oh, Lord. Don't tell me they have a video game out. So they have a choker collar on Zelenskyy. Yeah, let me get back to this. I'm sorry, y'all. I divested. Let's get back.
I walked around yesterday with MTG. If you can walk around with DC with MTG and not be attacked, the city is safe.
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Mr. President. Last week you warned of what you called severe consequences if a 30-day ceasefire or any type of ceasefire were not agreed to by Russia. Will there be severe consequences? Does that change because
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept? You know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
Can you explain the decision to offer Ukraine Article 5 like security guarantees, but stop short of pushing for their full membership?
Yeah, well, we haven't done anything on that yet. If you look back and you go back long before President Putin, it was always a statement that they would never allow Ukraine into NATO. So that was a statement that was made, but we haven't discussed any of that yet. We're going to be discussing it today, but we will give them very good protection, very good security. That's part of it. And the people that are waiting for us, they are, I think they're very like-minded. They want to help out also.
I don't think they're going to let Ukraine into NATO as long as this moron is in charge. Maybe if he leaves, they might do it. You know, when they put in their own little puppet president that'll play ball, yeah, then they'll probably let Ukraine into NATO, but not when he's in charge. No, this dude's a warmonger.
Thank you, President Trump. The United States has already given hundreds of billions of dollars to this war effort in Ukraine.
Biden.
At best,
Yeah,
it is a stalemate, and the killing continues. So, President Trump, how much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number's well over 3.
Told you. Oh, I knew it. I ain't giving him. You ain't getting nada. Nathan, you gonna pay for it. Let's back it up. You gonna pay for it.
How much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number's well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden, a corrupt politician.
Biden always
not a
gets
smart
straight.
man. Never was. By the way, go back 40 years. He was not a smart man 40 years ago either. And now he's in particular bad.
He was a low IQ
This was
racist.
done by a corrupt administration that shouldn't have been in. And frankly, if the right results of the election were given, if I were president, this war would have never taken place. And he would have been very happy because he would have liked to have seen. I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened. And the people that were killed, a couple of million people, a lot of people with soldiers and everything else, and the people that have been displaced and forced into other areas and other countries because of what's happened, none of that would have happened. And I'm just saying that he was a horrible president, whether it was the borders or this, he was just a horrible, corrupt president.
Mr. President,
You want to answer?
I can. Thank you so much. So first of all, we have possibility now to buy weapons from the United States. We are thankful for this program and this opportunity. We are thankful for Europe. They pay for this. And through NATO program, for example, Pearl and etc., we have some programs where we can have some money to finance this. And this a part, I think, it's not a part for the war and to defend us. It also will be a part for security guarantees, to strengthen our army, to rearm Ukrainian army. This is very, very important. And it depends how much money we need to rearm. For example, the question of air defense, we spoke about it with President Trump, and I'm happy that we have now bilateral decisions and we work on it with production, American production. Nobody in Europe has so many air defense like Patriots, for example. We need it very much, and this is also about defending.
And I think, I think the good news, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. You mentioned the Patriots. How good are they?
And we charge you full price
They're
plus
literally
gratuity.
100% foolproof. And it's really like shooting two bullets, two bullets hitting each other in the air in a space like this. The chances, 100%. It's 99 to 100%. So we sell the equipment to NATO. And NATO does what, I don't know what the arrangement is that you have with, but I know that they want you to have the equipment. And we're getting the best equipment in the world, but they pay us for the equipment. Under Biden, it was just crazy what was going on. I believe the number is over 300. I think it could be $350 billion worth of equipment and money and everything else. And we've made more progress in settling this war in the last 2 months than they made in 4 years. This should have been settled a long time ago, but it should have never happened. Yeah, please.
Mr. President,
You pushed out on social media.
Brian, go first.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that? How?
Well, that's a very off-topic. Just really quickly, mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt and you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened, massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things. And now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad, I hate to take your time in this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt. You know, when you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me, they asked me for my license plate, for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. He said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually. But it's very hard to cheat with mail-in voting. As you know what happens in California, it's so corrupt, where some people get 5, 6, 7 ballots delivered to them. Now, we got to stop mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to lead the charge. The Democrats want it because they have horrible policy. If you have mail-in voting, you're not going to have many Democrats get elected. That's bigger than anything having to do with redistricting, believe me. And the Republicans have to get smart. We're not going to have a country. I said for a long time at rallies, you need borders and you need free and fair elections. Those two things. Otherwise, you don't have. We have strong borders now. In 90 days, Mr. President, we didn't have 1, 0, 0, and 3 months. Not one person came in illegally into our country. In fact, even I find that hard to believe, but it's run by a little bit of a liberal group that put out the numbers. So I guess but 0, 0, and 0. You go back a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 millions of people poured into our country. It was terrible. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Trump talked about that as far as like the mail-in ballots and whatnot. He was saying that they should be watermarked to prevent election fraud because he lost Pennsylvania because 200,000 votes came in, or is it 20,000 or 200,000? I think it was 200,000 mail-in ballots came into Pennsylvania at the last second, and he lost. That's how he lost the 2020 election. Not to mention the votes down here in Florida, the votes were missing. I mean, here in Georgia, the votes were missing. You had the fire alarm get pulled, and all of a sudden the votes were missing. Wow. But but in all honesty, things happen for a reason. And I see it as is that what it made him do now that he's president again, of course, it made him be tough on immigration. He's now going to be tough on crime. And these are because of the Democrats. And he's going to fight. Of course, he's fighting poverty and bringing industrialization and money back into the United States. These are the things that made the United States strong. You need to be tough on these things. And him not being president for 4 years and them dragging him through the mud and then trying to assassinate him. This man is, you guys were here with me from the inception of this channel. This man has been on a terror He's been on a terror since January 20th. Since the day he was sworn in, this man has been on a terror. It's not even September yet. What? He hasn't even been in office, 7 months? In 2 days, he'll be in office for 7 months to the day. And he's been on a tear. He's got more done than most presidents do in 4 years.
What guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal? Is it American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
What's up, Lou?
Everything. Really, it includes two parts. First, strong Ukrainian army. That's what I began to discuss with your colleagues. And it's a lot about weapon and then people and training missions and intelligence. And second, we will discuss with our partners. It depends on the big countries, on the United States, on a lot of our friends.
Mr. President, are you going to commit American troops to that NATO-like protection in order to get President Zelenskyy to endorse it?
Well, I don't know if you define it that way, but NATO-like, I mean, we have people waiting in another room right now. They're all here from Europe, biggest people in Europe, and they want to give protection. They feel very strongly about it, and we'll help them out with that. I think it's very important. I think it's very important to get the deal done.
You've been involved with peacekeeping in Ukraine since your first day in the administration. What would you say to the Ukrainian people right now who are suffering under the Russian attacks and hoping that the American people will stand with them?
Well, I know Ukrainian people. I've known many over the years. They're great people. They're smart. They're energetic. They love their country. I mean, they love their country, and we want to get this war ended. That's all I can do. I love the Ukrainian people, but I love all people. I love the Russian people. I love them all. I want to get the war stopped. Very important.
Was there any aspect of your discussion with Vladimir Putin that led you disappointed?
Look, I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, my mic went mute. All right, so there was that. And then, of course, he had the meeting with, here it is, right here. We can cover this too. Trump participates in multilateral meeting with European leaders. Let's see what popped off with this. Because all of this is about ending that war.
Isn't it it's such an incredible place. Well, we're building a big a ballroom. Beautiful. Right here. If you go, it would be right through here. It's going to be, I'll tell you, but it's going to be fantastic, actually. You can let them come in. I think we're going to have a successful talk today. Yeah. Please come on in. Do you guys want to take some questions or anything? See. Hi, Mark. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you here. Special place. White House is special no matter where you're from. Represents so much, and it really is beautiful. And thank you for all of the wonderful things that took place today. We've had a very successful day thus far. Important discussions as we work to end the killing and stop the war in Ukraine. We're all working for the same goal, very simple goal. We want to stop the killing, get this settled. I've just had the honor of being with President Zelenskyy and all of the discussions that we've had. We covered a lot of territory, and I spoke indirectly with President Putin today. We're going to call President Putin right after this meeting. I'm sure we're going to have a solid meeting, good meeting, maybe a great meeting, and we're going to try and work out a trilat after that and see if we can get it finished, put this to sleep, because this is not since the Second World War has there been anything like this. So I'm honored to welcome NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's a great gentleman, great
See how
political
long this
leader in
is.
Europe
Okay, just
generally,
30 minutes.
but now he's the
We
NATO
got time.
Secretary General, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Mark. Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom, our friend and my friend, and doing really well. And people like him a lot. We all like him. Everyone knows President Macron of France, who's been with me from the beginning. One of the first people I met
With his husband?
was a foreign dignitary,
wife?
and I liked him from day one. And I like him even more now. That's pretty good. That's unusual. That's a pretty unusual thing. Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, who's a really a great leader and an inspiration over there. She's served now, even though she's a very young person, she's served there for a long period of time relative to others. They don't last very long. You've lasted a long time. You're going to be there a long time. Chancellor Merz of Germany, who is a very strong person and a very strong leader and very highly respected in Germany. And he's my friend, and it's an honor to have him as my friend. Thank you very much. Very good. You look great with your tan. Where did you get that tan? I want to get a tan like that. President Stubb of
He didn't know what to
and
say.
He's somebody that, where are we here? Huh? Where? Oh, you look better than I've ever seen you look. But you've done a great job, and we wanted to have you here because you're somebody that we all respect. And you've had a lot to do with the success, I think, and the potential success. And thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. And the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who is somebody that we just made a big deal with all of those countries.
How does
I
her
don't know.
name
I think you
sound
might
like?
be more powerful than all these guys at this table. I don't know.
Wait. Ursula von der Leyen? How come she sounds like a James Bond villain's mistress?
But we had a great negotiation, and you're respected all over the world. So I want to thank you very much for being here. It's a great honor to have you. The Alaska Summit reinforced my belief that while difficult, peace is within reach, and I believe that in a very significant step, President Putin agreed that Russia would accept security guarantees for Ukraine, and this is one of the key points that we need to consider, and we're going to be considering that at the table also, like who will do what, essentially. I'm optimistic that collectively we can reach an agreement that would deter any future aggression against Ukraine, and I actually think there won't be. I think that's even overrated, largely overrated, but we're going to find out. And I think that the European nations are going to take a lot of the burden. We're going to help them, and we're going to make it very secure. We also need to discuss the possible exchanges of territory, taking into consideration the current line of contact. That means the war zone, the war lines that are pretty obvious, very sad actually to look at them, and negotiating positions. President Putin, also you have President of Ukraine, who is you just met a little while ago, and we're going to try and get a three-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can. And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out. Ultimately, this is a decision that can only be made by President Zelenskyy and by the people of Ukraine working also together in agreement with President Putin. And I just think that's very good things are going to come of it. So I hope we have a good meeting. And if we can have a good meeting, I'll set up a meeting with President Putin. And if you'd like, I'll go to that meeting. And not that I want to do that, but I will do that because we want to save a lot of people from dying. A lot of people are dying, and we got to save them. We got to save it. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people sometimes a week. All of us would obviously prefer an immediate ceasefire while we work on a lasting peace.
Disney
And
villainous.
maybe something like that could happen. As of this moment, it's not happening. But President Zelensky and President Putin can talk a little bit more about that. You know, in the 6 or so wars that we stopped, we haven't had a ceasefire. And so I don't know that it's necessary. You can do it through the war, but it would be, I like the ceasefire from another standpoint. You immediately stop the killing. But I believe a peace agreement at the end of all of this is something that's very attainable, and it can be done in the near future. With all of the wars that I got involved in, we only have this one.
That's what I want to touch on. Jasmine Crockett losing her seat. Look, she lost her seat down there in Texas. They essentially kicked out of Congress. She better enjoy her final 365 days.
Left. Of course, as I walk out the door, there'll probably be a new one starting, and I'll get that stopped too. But I thought this was going to be one of the easier ones. It's actually one of the most difficult. They're very complex. The next step would be for a trilateral meeting, and that will be worked out. And I just look forward to working and having a great result. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about, and we're really honored you guys came over. I mean, these are the heads of major countries and respected all over Europe. And they speak for, largely, I think I should say, but pretty much for the other countries of Europe. And we will come to a resolution today, I think, on almost everything, including probably the security. And that's pretty much a story. I'd like to say, Mr. President, would you like to say something? You have the media. If you want, you could come over and you could stand, you could use mine, or you could just turn around, whichever you feel comfortable with.
Thank you so much. I can speak without microphone. Thank you so much. I think that we had very good conversation with President Trump.
Very good.
And it really was the best one. Or sorry, maybe the best one will be in the future. But it was really good. And we spoke about very sensitive points. The first one is security guarantees. And we are very happy with President that all the leaders are here, and the security in Ukraine depends on the United States and on you and on those leaders who are with us in our hearts. They have been online before yesterday, and etc. So a lot of countries on the side of Ukraine, our people, and all of us want to finish this war, stop Russia and stop this war. We spoke about it, and we will speak more about security guarantees. This is very important that the United States gives such strong signal and is ready for security guarantees. The second point, or maybe the first, humanitarian direction, very important to exchange all the prisoners, and I think that President will help. And I was very thankful to your wife again, Mr. President, for the letter about our
blah 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 blah
children, and I hope that really it can be a historic role for the people to bring kids back to the families and be happy and
get the people back. Yeah.
Yes, this is so important, and I'm happy that we discussed it, this track with the President Trump, and I hope that we will find decisions. And then what is very important, that all the sensitive things, territorial, etc., we will discuss on the level of leaders during trilateral meeting, and President Trump will try to organize such meeting, and he said that he will come or not come. Ukraine will be happy if you
will
both
participate. Want me there, I will be there.
Yeah, thank you. And I think this is very important. Yes, so security guarantees, bringing kids back, and all our people, not only warriors, first of all warriors, and all the civilians, journalists, a lot of people in prison. So we need them back. And guarantees which will work for the years. We spoke about it, and I showed the President a lot of details on the battlefield, on the map. Thank you so much. Thank you for the map, by the way.
Good map.
It was great. Yeah, I'm thinking how to take it back.
We'll get you.
No. I think that we had.
Okay. There's only one reason why we're watching this where I'm paying attention to it because we didn't really learn what Trump and Putin talked about Friday. We don't know what Trump and Zelenskyy talked about today. So maybe somehow, somewhere in this meeting here, we can find out what were the concessions that Russia made with the US in order to stop shelling Ukraine. Because it's really, again, Ukraine has to, or Zelenskyy has to acquiesce to the deal. Well, Russia, what do you want? Okay, well, as the US, this is what we want. We feel that we, as in Russia and the United States, we feel that this is what's best for Ukraine. Ukraine has to acquiesce. The EU, which is, these are EU leaders, NATO, EU, they have to, sign off on it. Their whole mission, let's just be honest, everybody sitting at that table right now, their whole mission is to get this little fucker right here to sign the paperwork. All of them are there to get him to sign the paperwork. Lewis was saying, 3 months ago, 2.5, near 3 months ago, that this dude probably got 3 months worth of life left in him if they don't get a deal done. To me, this is his last ditch effort to sign the paperwork. This is not so much about, we've got to stop Russia. No, this is, dude, you have to stop Russia. The only person at this table that can stop Russia from doing what Russia is doing is Zelenskyy. I hope he understands that. I hope this little twerking queen understands that. No more begging for money. You have to buy your weapons now. Nobody's coming to save you. This is your last ditch effort. Sign the paperwork.
Constructive, specific meeting, and I'm very thankful to all the leaders who are here, and you help a lot, and so we are happy that we have such big unity today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much,
for hosting us.
Mr. President. I think you'll see that President Putin really would like to do something else. I think when we set that up,
they're done with you.
When we do, I think it's going to be when, not if. I think you're going to see some really positive moves. I know there's over 1,000 prisoners, and I know they're going to release them. Maybe they're going to release them very soon, like immediately.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
That's
but
good.
We will,
okay, so that's part of the
set that up today after this meeting. So very good and great remarks. I appreciate it. Mark, as head of NATO, maybe you could say a few words.
Yes, I will be very brief. I really want to thank you, President of the United States, dear Donald, for the fact that you, as I said before, broke the deadlock with President Putin by starting that dialogue. And I think it was in February that you had the first phone call. And from there, we are now where we are today. And that is, I think, if we play this well,
6 months
we could
later.
end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited. And let's make the best out of today.
He's looking at Zelenskyy.
From today onwards, we
Zelenskyy
get
and
this
Trump,
thing to an
but
end as soon as
he's looking
possible.
at
I really
both
want
of
to
them, but
thank you
he's
for your
mainly
leadership,
looking at Zelenskyy.
what you are doing for
He's
Volodymyr, but of
talking
course
to
also all
Zelenskyy.
the European colleagues. It is really crucial. And the fact that you
Thank
have said,
you.
I'm willing to participate
appreciate
in the
it.
security guarantees is a big step. It's really a breakthrough, and it makes all the difference. So also thank you for that.
Well, NATO also has agreed from 2% to 5%, which is something that is a massive amount of money. And it's 2% that wasn't always paid to 5% that is paid. That's a big difference. And so we appreciate that. That was a great move. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Ursula,
5%
maybe on
to
behalf of the
defense.
Commission, you
Every
can say a
country
couple of
has to
words.
Thank you
put
very
up
much.
5%
It's a
of
pleasure to be
defense to
here.
NATO.
It's a very important moment. Indeed, we are here, Europeans, as friends and allies. We had a fantastic NATO summit.
together as the two largest and biggest economies in the world. We had the largest trade deal ever
That's right.
agreed. And now we are here to work together with you on a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Stop the killing. This is really our common
she's
interest.
looking at
Stop the
Zelensky.
killing. And indeed, it's very good to hear that we're working on the security guarantees, Article 5 life security guarantees, so important. But I want to thank you also that you mentioned the thousands of Ukrainian children that have been abducted. And as a mother and
Have
grandmother,
them kids back.
every single child has to go back to its family. This should be one of our main priorities also in these negotiations, to make sure that the children come back to Ukraine to their families.
I mean, do understand they took the children as bargaining chips. Hey, Zelensky, hey, look, we got your kids. We got your kids. Stop shooting. Stop shooting. Zelensky don't give a damn. He never gave a damn. He never gave a damn. He didn't try to, okay, stop, wait. Let's talk. No, he didn't care. Zelensky is worse than Hamas. Anyway.
Thank you. And we did. I was just thinking we're here for a different reason.
Had them kids back.
We just a couple of weeks ago made the largest trade deal in history. So that's a big thing. And congratulations. That's great. Thank you very much, Ursula. Mr. Chancellor from Germany, a very great leader.
Mr. President,
Please.
dear Donald, many thanks for having us today. I think this is extremely helpful that we are meeting and hearing that the two of you are having such a good meeting today
Why
here
does
in
she
Washington.
look bored? Look
The
at her
next steps
feet. Look how
ahead
fidgety
are
she is.
the more complicated ones now. The path is open. You opened it last
Like she got to
Friday.
pee or something.
But now the way is open for complicated negotiations. And to be honest, we all would like to see a ceasefire, the latest from the next meeting on. I can't imagine that the next meeting
Damn,
would
she got
take
a stank face too.
without a ceasefire. So let's work on that and let's try to put pressure on Russia, because the credibility of these efforts we are undertaking today are depending on at least a ceasefire from the beginning of the serious negotiations from next step on. So I would like to emphasize this aspect and would like to see a ceasefire from the next meeting, which should be a trilateral meeting wherever it takes place.
Well,
She looks very, I mean, because I'm watching body language here. This guy right here, this guy is a punk. He is a kitty cat of a leader. All right. He is a kitty cat of a leader. He is a high heel thongs and stockings when nobody's looking type of a leader. But outside of him, let's get back to her. Look at her face. Look how she's got the pursed lips, the intense eyes. She was fidgeting around. Oh my God, she's very agitated. She is very agitated because they don't want to be there. If Zelensky just do what the hell he was supposed to do, none of this would be going on. But you heard this dude blaming Russia, but Russia is not to blame. Russia is not to blame for all of this. Biden is to blame for all of this. He was the one that was funding Zelensky, stealing the money. The Democratic Party was stealing the money. Zelensky was selling the weapons on the black market, prolonging all of this. These people, she looks like she's tired. She looks tired. She looks pissed off, tired. She looks like the mother that told you for the last time about not putting your shoes away when you come in the house and take them off at the door. You just keep leaving them all over the place. And she done came home carrying groceries and stuff after a hard day at work and tripped over your shoes and groceries went spilling everywhere. So as soon as you come and greet her at the door, because Mark, get down here now, and she's standing there waiting on you to come down them steps, you about to get it, bro. You about to get physically dealt with. Anyway, but I mean, I'm just telling you what I see from my perspective. But let's go.
We're going to let the president go over and talk to the president, and we'll see how that works out. And if we can do that, I will say, and again, I say it, in the 6 wars that I've settled, I haven't had a ceasefire. We just got into negotiations, and they
knocked it off.
One of the wars was, as you know, in the Congo was 31 years long. Another one that we settled last week with 2 great countries was 35 years going on, and we had no ceasefire. So if we can do the ceasefire, great. And if we don't do a ceasefire, because many other points were given to us, many points were given to us, great points. Please, Georgia, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Donald, Mr. President, for hosting us today in this important meeting. And I think it is an important day, a new phase, after 3 years and a half that we didn't see any kind of sign from the Russian side that there was a willing for dialogue. So something is changing, something has changed, thanks to you. Thanks also to the stalling in the battlefield, which was achieved with the bravery of Ukrainians and with the unity that we all provided to Ukraine. And the reason why I mention it is that we also have to remind that if we want to reach peace and if we want to guarantee justice, we have to do it united. So that.
Okay, first off, none of these buckers, Starmer, Macron, her, or this guy, I think he's president of Germany, none of these people sent anything to Ukraine. Hardly nothing. Sent them crumbs. Meanwhile, we sending them 7-course meals, and they just sending over like 3-day-old apple fritters that's been outside in the hot sun. So what she just said is a lot of horse dookie. Oh, and by the way, him, Starmer, Macron, and this guy, all 3 of these people have let immigration, invaders from the South, they're destroying their countries. In Europe, in the UK and France, they're locking up their people for just saying what I'm saying. If we were to know how we talk about our illegals and everything, about them being pedos, rapists, murderers, drug dealers, whatnot, we point that out in the UK, France, and Germany, but most especially the UK and France, they lock you up. They throw you in jail. If your daughter gets gang raped by a pack of Muslims, what they call the grooming gangs, they will charge the victim, especially if they're underage. They'll charge the victim with indecency and whatnot. They'll let the grapists off, saying that it's part of their culture. So they're the last ones that need to be talking about, peace in Ukraine and whatnot, when they've turned their countries into Sharia law states.
That's why it's a very good day, the one we are in. You can obviously count on Italy as it was from the beginning. We are on the side of Ukraine, and we do absolutely support your efforts towards peace. We will talk about many important topics. The first one is security guarantees, how to be sure that it won't happen again, which is the precondition of every kind of peace. I'm happy that we will discuss about that. I'm happy that we will begin from a proposal, which is the, let's say, Article 5 model, which was Italian at the beginning. So we are always ready to bring our proposals for peace, for dialogue. It's something we have to build together to guarantee peace and to defend the security of our nation. So thank you, Mr. President, for hosting us.
Thank you very much. Emmanuel?
Thank you, Mr. President, for organizing this meeting and for your commitment. And everything was said, but I just have to say here, everybody around this table is in favor of peace. And we work very hard, and we've worked very hard during the past few years to have a peace which is a robust and long-standing peace. This is why the idea of a trilateral meeting is very important, because this is the only way to fix it. And by the way, I think as a follow-up, we would need probably a quadrilateral meeting, because when we speak about security guarantees, we speak about the whole security of the European continent. And this is why we are all united here with Ukraine on this matter. In order to organize such a trilateral meeting, your idea to ask for a truce or ceasefire, at least to stop the killings, as we discussed, is a necessity. And we all support this idea. And in order to have such a long-standing peace for Ukraine and for the whole continent, we do need these security guarantees. And the first one is clearly a credible Ukrainian army for the years and decades to come. And the second one is our own commitment, all of us. And we worked very hard during the past few months amongst the coalition of the willings, with the support of NATO, to build the different pillars of security guarantees and our commitments. And you can be sure that Europeans are very lucid about the fact that they have their fair share in these security guarantees for Ukraine, but their own security is clearly at stake in this situation. So you can count on us, as we can count on you, in order to deliver this robust peace for both Ukraine and Europe.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for hosting us here. Can I start where Emmanuel started, which is we all want peace.
Okay, I know everybody. Again, everybody around this table is saying the same thing. Everybody at this table is steady looking Zelenskyy in the eye. Everybody at this table is quote unquote blaming Russia. But in all honesty, I repeat, they're talking to you, Zelenskyy. Sign the deal. Sign the deal, bro. Sign the deal.
War in Ukraine has had a huge impact, particularly on the Ukrainians who've borne the brunt of it. But it's also had an impact on Europe and on the United Kingdom. There's not a family or community that hasn't been affected. And when we talk about security, we're talking about the security not just of Ukraine, we're talking about the security of Europe and the United Kingdom as well, which is why this is such an important issue. I think this is such an important meeting. As a group, I think we've had a discussion on the phone a number of times, Mr. President, but be able now to be around the table to take it forward. And I really feel that we can, I think, with the right approach this afternoon, make real progress, particularly on the security guarantees. And your indication of security guarantees, of some sort of Article 5 style guarantees, fits with what we've been doing with the Coalition of the Willing, which we started some months ago, bringing countries together and showing that we were prepared to step up to the plate when it came to security. With you coming alongside, the US alongside what we've already developed, I think we could take a really important step forward today. A historic step, actually, could come out of this meeting in terms of security for Ukraine and security in Europe. I also feel that we can make real progress towards a just and lasting outcome. Obviously, that has to involve Ukraine, and a trilateral meeting seems the sensible next step. So thank you for being prepared to take that forward, because I think if we can ensure that that is the progress out of this meeting, both security guarantees and some sort of progress on trilateral meeting of some sort to bring some of the difficult issues to a head, then I think today will be seen as a very important day in recent years in relation to a conflict which has gone on for 3 and a bit years. And so far, nobody's been able to bring it to this point. So I thank you for that.
I need to find.
Thank you very much. And it's very interesting because this is the first for the White House. You can't say that very often. It's seen a lot over the years, since 1799, to be almost exact. But this is the first where we've had so many prime ministers, presidents, the heads of European nations. And by the way, Alex, I'd like you to say a couple of words too. You're a young, powerful man. Before I finish up, I want you to say a couple of words. Go ahead.
I'll take the notion of youth back to my wife and try to convince her. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think in the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have in the past 3.5 years. And I think the fact that we're around this table today is very much symbolic in the sense that it's Team Europe and Team United States helping Ukraine. And the progress that we're looking out of this meeting is about the security guarantees, which are a big part of this. And then, of course, moving towards a process with a trilateral meeting with you and President Putin and President Zelenskyy. Some of the international media might wonder, why is the president of Finland here? I think the reason is probably that we might come from a small country, but we have a long border with Russia, over 800 miles. And we, of course, have our own historical experience with Russia from World War II, the Winter War and the War of Continuation. And if I look at the silver lining of where we stand right now, we found a solution in 1944, and I'm sure that we'll be able to find a solution in 2025 to end Russia's war of aggression and find and get a lasting and just peace. The situation is very difficult, but that's why we're here.
Thank you, Alex, very much. Good job. So we're going to be meeting for a while, and we're going to discuss some of the issues. And I don't think there's any issue that's overly complex. It's at a point now where people want to do things. I really do believe, I've known him for a long time. I've always had a great relationship with him. I think that President Putin wants to find an answer too. And we'll see. And in a certain period of time, not very far from now, a week or 2 weeks, we're going to know whether or not we're going to solve this, or is this horrible fighting going to continue. We'll do our best to get it ended. And I believe you have two willing parties, and usually that's good news, but two willing parties that want to make a deal. And we'll journey together, and we'll go over and we'll see if it can be done. And it's possible it might not be able to be done. On the other hand, it's possible it will. And we're going to save thousands and thousands of lives a week. And so it's something we really have to do. And or at least we have to give it our best. It's all you can do. You can give it your best. But I think we may have a very good outcome. So I want to thank you all, and the media, I want to thank you. We're going to be staying here for a little while. Then we're going to walk over to the Oval Office, and we're going to have another little discussion about similar matters. And then they're going to go home to their great countries and report. And I'm going to remain here and work, and you're going to go and work. We're all going to be working. We may be in a different location, but that's what we know how to do, is work. But I want to thank the media. Has been actually very fair, generally speaking, very fair. I think it's important that they're fair, because this is a very important subject. We have to get it ended. And so that's all we ask for, is fairness for the media. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No CNN and no MSNBC. Yeah, you notice no Caitlin Collins. All right, yeah, you didn't see them.
Man, white people believe anything. Every ghost I catch, I charge them $5,000 plus gratuity.
Yeah, you didn't see them. All right, so yeah, that was it. That was a short little meeting. We didn't learn anything outside of them returning the children as part of the securities package, i.e. Assurances and guarantees. But now it's just a matter of Zelenskyy acquiescing to the pressure of the EU, of NATO, letting him know, hey, look, this is what it's going to be. We'll keep Russia off your back, but you have to sign the deal. You have to sign the deal. Other than that, I mean, you're on your own. It's up to you. That's what they're going to say behind closed doors, even though to our faces they were blaming Russia. And if he agrees behind closed doors to sit down with Putin to sign the deal, then we'll see. That'll be the next step. If he agrees to sit down with Putin, then it's over. It's done. It should be done, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. All right, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. I got a couple of videos to do. Y'all, peace out. Oh, I did a new exit. Tell me what y'all think about it in the comment section below.
To glean, men,
There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam, all right? Let's go.
It's that DC council member who suggested that the military should respond to this crime wave.
I know those who live here know that we are clearly in a war zone. Absolutely. I'm going to say it again. We are clearly in a war zone.
Told them, whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police. As the police are standing up there in uniform, they're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard.
That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand that?
When he says, it's Liberation Day and all of these things, those are, ways of him saying, it's white power, it's what I want to do. Those are racist remarks. His number one targets are cities that are led by black mayors.
That's right.
His number one targets are cities
That's right.
that are sanctuary cities that, support immigration. People always want to hype DC up and want to come to DC so bad, but this the shit we deal with. This the shit I wake up to in the morning. My fucking window's busted out when I'm trying to go to fucking work. Shit is fucking insane.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe. I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast DC, right? Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe. I think we have to rethink what safety means in America.
Do you not understand that this is what the residents want? I'm not talking about the bougie upper echelons, bougie blacks. I'm talking about the everyday grandmas that have to deal with these homeless people peeing and pooping on their steps, and then they have to clean it up. They don't feel safe when they walk into their neighborhood. The gangs and the dope boys are just standing around the corner. Do you not understand this is what they want? I remember working with a community leader and somebody had just gotten shot. This is like 5 years ago. And I remember her praying and she said, Crystal, we're gonna have to invoke the National Guard. And that was so foreign to me. Now I understand the shit. These people are helpless. And I'm not talking about the bougie black people that live in their gated communities with their new bills. I'm talking about the everyday grandmothers. And I'm so glad that President Trump cares about that.
Man, down the city is quiet as a church mouse, man. I came all the way down Pennsylvania Avenue this morning. So peaceful, man. I don't smell no weed, yo. I don't see no homeless people. I mean, I came all the way through the southeast side, all the way down here. You can see now I'm at the White House, jump, man. It's quiet, yeah. It's a shame that it takes somebody to have to sit in your classroom in order for you to be in order, man. Because that's what it feels like, man. You got to be babysitting to do your job, man. Stuff been out of control for years. You got to do better, man. You got to do better. The main thing you got the problem is us, man. It's always us giving everybody a bad name, man. We'll see how long this lasts, man. How many murders was it last night? How many carjackings was it last night? Talk to me. And y'all keep on posting all these data numbers and things of that nature that y'all see everybody else reposting. The stuff that came from the Metropolitan Police Department and the mayor, yeah. Let me tell you something, yeah. Let me tell you something. You can't be that stupid. You can't be, man. Who enters that information to get that data analysis, yeah? People do. You can enter whatever numbers you want to make whatever report show what, but you can't hide the crime, yeah? You can't do it. Let me give you something to break it down to you for those that don't understand. I retired from UPS, right? So what they used to do to play with the numbers or whatever, we'd have mission packages, you would have drivers over the hours. They'd go in and enter the information and the report would show whatever they needed to show to keep their bonus that week for their bosses not to fire their ass. So stop believing that stuff. And I don't know if you ever had to deal with the DC government, young, but they suck, young. They have got a lot more better. Now the officers have did what they had to do and got all these people out of the government and got rid of the riffraff and things of that nature. People actually do work now. Let me give you this for example, right? You got carry and conceals or whatever that were being issued by the DC separate department that was handling the gun license and the things of that nature. They went from turnaround time for like 4 months, 5 months for you to have to get a gun registered in DC and get a carry and conceal to 2 weeks. It used to take you 3 months just to get an appointment to talk to somebody and take your information and your gun down there. Now, you go online right now and they got appointments available to borrow. How does that happen? What changed? You put some fire under their asses and now they want to do some work.
And if you really want to know who the criminals are in this country, you can Google it. You don't have to trust me. But the people that commit 80% of the most violent crimes in this country are white supremacists. Yet.
I mean, we just want volunteers, not hostages.